evening, ghouls and girls and everyone in between. How are we doing this evening? Thank you, lovely. Well, welcome to Railway Gardens and welcome to Tales of Terror. Thank you. We are Peculiar Productions. We are here to give you a spooky double bill of classic horror stories for this evening. We'll be starting very soon with the Edgar Allan Poe classic chiller, The Telltale Heart. But before we do, I just have a couple of very quick announcements and a couple of quick thank yous to give before the event begins. First of all, a huge thank you to Goodshed for partnering with Peculiar for this event. They are the reason we are here, so a big round of applause for them, please. I'm sure that you will have seen on your way in, but if you haven't, there is a raffle that is taking place. If you want to go get tickets, you can get them at the gazebo. You also can get some food and drink from Signalman Cafe in the interval. And during the interval, there will be some music from the Oasis One World Choir as well. That's it. So, I think that's it from me. And I will leave you in the very capable hands of the company for The Telltale Heart. Thank you.
This rather nervous specimen is the wretched William Wilson. His name may be known to you, for he is a most notorious murderer. He took the life of a neighbour of his, a harmless old man by the name of Mr. Montresor, in the most brutal of means. The Crown have asked for the severest of punishments for his heinous crime, but due to his evident madness, it is uncertain whether this unfortunate soul will indeed swing, or whether he will remain confined to this cell for the rest of his days. Mr. Wilson, we are here for your confession.
Nervous. Yes, this is true. I have been very, very nervous, and still am. But why do you call me mad? The disease had sharpened my senses. Not dulled, not destroyed. Above all else was the sense of hearing acute. I could hear all things in the heaven and the earth. I heard many things in hell as well. So why then do you call me mad? Come and listen to how helpfully, how calmly I tell you the whole story. I first moved to the city some months ago and found myself in need of lodgings. I found an advertisement announcing lodgings to be found with Madam Beck at a reasonable price. I made my introductions and went to see the rooms. They were situated on the top floor and were most agreeable. However, whilst I was there, I was introduced to Madam Beck's other tenant, one Mr. Montresor.
Ah, Mr. Wilson, a pleasure to meet you. I do hope you should take the rooms and find me a quiet and amenable neighbour.
I hope you find me the same, Mr. Montresor.
Well, a pleasure to meet you. I must take my leave. I am dining tonight with a colleague from work. Good day to you, sir.
I took the rooms. They suited me for my purpose, and I remained for several months at Madam Beck's. In that time, I got to know Mr. Montresor a little better. A retired banker, well-liked, well-regarded, no family, few friends, always kind. He never gave me insult. I may even go so far as to say that, in my own way, I came to love the old man. But that eye patch. Madam Beck had informed me that it was merely the result of a childhood affliction, but it continued to trouble me. It is impossible to say how first the idea entered my brain, but once conceived, it haunted me day and night. And then, one night, Madam Beck was called away, quite suddenly.
Mr. Wilson, you find me unable to take visitors at the moment. How may I be of assistance? Mr. Wilson?
Ah, I'm sorry, sir. Madam Batcroft needs to report that she'll be leaving this evening for a few days to see to her ailing father.
Dear me, the poor lady, I hope it's nothing serious.
Oh, she used the phrase, not long for this world.
And then the train appeared.
She also asked me to inform you that I will be tending to your evening meals and breakfast in her absence.
Oh, that's very kind of you, Mr. Wilson. Very kind indeed. I shall dine at the club most evenings, but as you're aware of my affliction, it does make certain things a little difficult.
I can imagine, sir, that. Have no fear, Mr. Montresor. I'll look after you.
That eye. It resembled that of a vulture. A pale blue eye with a film over it. When it fell upon me, my blood ran cold. And so, by degrees, very gradually, I made up my mind to take the life of the old man, and thus rid myself of the eye forever. Now this is the point. You think me mad? Madmen know nothing. But you should have seen me. You should have seen how wisely I proceeded, with what caution, with what foresight I went to work. I was never kinder to the old man than during the week before I killed him. And every night, about midnight, I turned the latch of his door and opened it, oh, so gently. And then, when I made an opening sufficient for my head, I put in a dark lantern, all closed, so that no light shone out. And then I thrust my head in. Oh, you would have laughed to see how cunningly I thrust it in. I moved it slowly, very, very slowly, so that I might not disturb the old man's sleep. It took me an hour or so to place my whole head within the opening, so far as I could see him lay upon his bed. Ah! Would a madman be so wise as this? And then, and then when the head was well in the room, I undid the lantern cautiously. Oh, so cautiously I undid it. Just so much as a single ray fell upon the vulture eye. And this I did for 7 long nights. Every night just at midnight. But I found the eye always closed. So it was impossible to do the work. It was not the old man who vexed me, but his eye. And every morning when the day broke, I went boldly into the chamber and spoke courageously to him, calling him in a hearty tone, inquiring how he had passed the night. So you see, he would have been a very profound old man indeed, to suspect that every night, just at 12, I looked in upon him while he slept. Upon the 8th night, I was more than usually cautious in opening the door. A watch's hand moves much quickly than mine did. Never before that night had I felt the extent of my own powers. I could scarcely contain my feelings of triumph. To think that there I was, opening the door little by little, and he not even dream of my secret deeds or thoughts. I fairly chuckled at the idea, and perhaps he heard me, for he moved on the bed suddenly, as if startled. Now you may think that I drew back, but no. His room was as black as pitch, with the thick darkness, for the shutters were close fastened, so I knew he could not see the opening of the door. I kept pushing it on, steadily, steadily. I had my head in and was about to open the lantern when my thumb slipped upon the tin fastening, and the old man leaped up in the bed. "Wilson!
is there?
I was quite still and said nothing. For a whole hour I did not move a muscle, and in the meantime I did not hear him lie down. He was still in the bed listening, just as I had done night after night.
It is but the wind around the chimney.
Presently I heard a slight groan,
Oh.
and I knew it was the groan of mortal terror. It was not a groan of pain or of grief, oh no! It was the low, stifled sound that arises from the bottom of the soul when overcharged with awe. I knew that sound well. Many a night, just at midnight, when all the world slept, it had welled up from my own bosom, deepening with a dreadful echo the terrors that distracted me.
It is but a mouse running across the floor.
I knew what the old man felt, and I pitied him. I knew he had been lying awake ever since the first slight noise, when he had turned in the bed. His fears had been growing ever since upon him. He had been trying to fancy them causeless, but could not.
It is but a cricket with a single chirrup.
Yes, he had been trying to comfort himself with these superstitions, but he had found all in vain. All in vain, because death, in approaching him, had stalked with his black shadow upon him and enveloped the victim. And it was the mournful influence of the unperceived shadow that caused him to feel, although he neither saw nor heard, to feel the presence of my head within the room. When I had waited a long time, very patiently, without hearing him lie down, I resolved to open a very, very little crevice, and fell. And a very small crevice in the lantern. So I opened it. You cannot imagine how stealthily, until at length a single dim ray, like the thread of a spider, shot out of the crevice and fell upon the vulture eye. It was open. Wide open, and I grew furious as I gazed upon it. I saw it with perfect distinctness, all a dull blue with a hideous veil over it that chilled the very marrow of my bones. But I could see nothing else of the old man's face or person, for I had directed the ray, as if by instinct, precisely upon the damned spot. And now, have I not told you, for what you mistake for madness is but over-acuteness of the senses? Now I say, there came to my ears a low, dull, quick sound, such as a watch makes when enveloped in cotton. I knew that sound well too. It was the beating of the old man's heart. It increased my fury as the beating of the drum stimulates a soldier into courage. But even yet, I refrained and kept still. I scarcely breathed. I held the lantern motionless. I tried how steadily I could maintain the ray upon the eye. Meanwhile, the hellish tattoo of the heart increased. It grew quicker and louder every instant. The old man's terror must have been extreme. It grew louder, I say louder, every moment. Do you mark me well? I have told you I am nervous, so I am. And now, at the dead hour of night, amid the dreadful silence of the old house, so strange a noise as this excited me to uncontrollable terror. Yet for some minutes longer I refrained and stood still. But the beating grew louder and louder. I thought the heart must burst. And now a new anxiety seized me. The sound would be heard by a neighbour. The old man's hour had come. With a loud yell, I threw open the lantern and leaped into the room. In an instant, I dragged him to the floor and pulled the pillow over him. I smiled gaily to find the deed so far done, but for many minutes the heart beat on with a muffled sound. This, however, did not vex me. It would not be heard from the walls. At length, it ceased. The old man was dead. I removed the bed and examined the corpse. Yes, he was stone dead. I placed my hand upon the heart and held it there for many minutes. There was no pulsation. He was stone dead. His eye would trouble me no more. If you still think me mad, you will not think so after I describe the wise precautions I took for the concealment of the body. The night waned and I worked hastily in silence. First I dismembered the corpse. I cut off the head and the arms and the legs. I then took up 3 planks from the flooring of the chamber and deposited all between the scantlings. I then replaced the boards so cleverly, so cunningly, that no human eye, not even his, could have detected anything wrong. There was nothing to wash out, no stain at all, blood spot whatsoever. I had been too wary for that. The tub had caught all. Oh, when I made an end to these labours, it was 4 o'clock, and still dark as midnight. As the bell sounded the hour, there came a knocking at the street door. I went down to it with an open heart. For what had I to fear?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, officer. Can I help you with something?
Yes, sir. There's been a report of a scream heard here at the middle of the night.
Scream, you say?
That's right, sir. Suspicion of foul play has been aroused. Information has been lodged at the station, and I've been sent to search the premises.
I see.
So I need to come in, sir.
Oh, of course, officer. You are more than welcome to. Although, I can save you the bother. That scream was mine. I had a rather troublesome dream, which has seemed to have affected me somewhat.
Are you the only person in this boarding house at present?
You are correct, officer. My landlady, Madame Beck, is away seeing to a father. He's been absent now for almost 2 weeks. My downstairs neighbour, Mr. Montresor, left yesterday morning for a weekend in the country. You are more than welcome, however, to search the premises.
I smiled. For what had I to fear? I took my visitors all over the house. I bade them search and search well. I led them at length to Mr. Montresor's room. I showed them his treasures, secure, undisturbed. In the enthusiasm of my confidence, I brought chairs into the room and desired them to rest from their fatigues, while I myself, in the wild audacity of my perfect triumph, placed my own seat next to the very spot which reposed the corpse of the victim. My head ached. I fancied a ringing in my ears, but still they sat and still chatted. The ringing became more distinct. It continued and became more distinct. I talked freely to get rid of the feeling, but it continued and gained distinctness, till at length I found the noise not within my ears.
Well, thank you for your time, sir, and apologies for any inconvenience for calling at such an hour. We won't trouble you much longer.
Oh, there's no imposition, I can assure you. Can you tell me which of my neighbours had filed the complaints?
I'm afraid that would be confidential, sir. I couldn't give you that name.
I understand. I only wish to apologise to my neighbours for causing such a commotion and worrying them unnecessarily.
Sound increased. But what could I do? It was a low, dull, quick sound, such as a watch makes when enveloped in cotton. I gasped for breath, and yet the officers heard it not. I talked more quickly, more vehemently, but the noise steadily increased.
Where did you see it, sir?
I pride myself being a quiet and considerate neighbour. I'm sorry. Can you hear that?
Hear what, sir?
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. Do forgive me. I believe I woke quite suddenly from that terrible nightmare, and it seems to have affected me somehow. I had a slight headache. I am so sorry, officer, but I'm going to have to ask you to leave. It seems this disruption so early in the morning has me quite unsettled, and I believe I'm going to have to
getting rather heated, if you don't mind my saying so.
Heated? Heated? Why else would I be heated? I mean, all you've done is disturb my already troubled night to sleep by barging in here at this ungodly time of the morning, had me traipsing around the house just to prove to you that I'm here on my own. And now, you will just not leave me in peace. Why will you not be gone? You must hear
Okay, fine. I'm going to do that. Hello, everyone, and welcome back from the interval. Thank you very much for sticking around. I hope to terrify you now, or rather, we as a group hope to terrify you now with an adaptation of Charles Dickens' The Signalman. Put your hands together for the peculiar person.
Y trên nesaf i gyrraedd platfform 1 roedd gwasanaeth 24 naw i Uffern yn galw ym mhob orsaf yn hopman yn gynnwys Merthyr Tydfil. Gweliwch y bwlch rhwng ochr y platfform a'r tren. The next train arriving at platform 1 is the 8:45 service to Asphodel, calling at Tartarus, Merthyr Tydfil, the Fields of Death Pass and Swansea. Please mind the gap between the train and the platform edge, lest you fall into the River Styx.
Hello! Hello there! Hello! Hello! I say, is there any path by which I may come down and speak to you? I said, is there any path by which I may come down and speak with you?
There's a path some 200 or 300 yards distant, you sir. It's a rough descending track, but it'll bring you down here.
Very well. Oh my, this is a lonesome post to occupy. It captivated my attention when I looked down from up yonder. I suppose visitors are a rarity, but not an unwelcome rarity, I might hope. Well, in me, you merely find someone whose imagination has been kept within narrow limits all his life, but now is at last set free by newly awakened interest in these great works. Such advancements in the locomotive technology. I can scarce believe how advanced. That light over there as part of your charge, is it not?
Don't you know that it is, sir?
Good Lord, man, you look at me as if you have some dread of me.
I was unsure as to whether I'd seen you before.
Where? Over there? Oh, I was never there. Yeah, be there isn't May. And you may swear.
Yes, I may. No, I am sure I may.
Well, may I ask you some questions?
You may, sir.
Have you much to do here?
Yes, that is. Watchfulness and exactness are my duty, but in terms of actual work, manual labour, that is, I have next to none.
You must spend many long and lonesome hours here.
It can be that way, sir. I have taught myself French, if to know it by sight could be called learning it. I have worked at decimals and fractions, and tried my hand at algebra, though I never was good at figures.
And, well, you never have, reason to, to not stay between these, these high, cold stone walls. You don't ever have an excuse to rise up into the sunlight above.
Times and circumstances be what they are, sir. There are times where I may venture above these lower shadows into the sunlight, but being at all times on the call of my electric bell.
Oh, you have an electric bell?
In the box, sir. It rings to alert me of messages that I must read and respond to. They may be important, so, as you can gather, a short trip up into the sunlight is not as relaxing as you might expect.
Forgive me if I presume, but, you seem a man who's perhaps well educated. I hope not to cause offence, but perhaps educated above this station?
If you could believe it, I was a student of natural philosophy as a youth. I went to lectures, but abused my privileges and was sent down. My bed and I must lie in it. There's nothing to be changed now.
You know, you seem as if perhaps a man content with his station in life.
I was, sir, but I am troubled. Very troubled.
What could possibly trouble you down here?
It is a hard tale to tell. If you make me another visit, I shall attempt to recount it.
Oh, I should love to make you and your station another visit. But when should I return?
I am off early in the morning, and on shortly after 10 o'clock tomorrow night.
Very well, very well. I shall return at 11.
When I will raise my light to you to light the way. When you've found it, don't call out. And when you reach the top, sir, do not call out. And when you have found the path, don't call out.
Very well.
Let me ask you this one thing. When you called down to me today, why did you call, "Hello, below there"?
Heaven knows, I said something to that effect.
Not to that effect, sir. Those were the very words.
Very well. Those were the very words. I said them, no doubt, because I saw you below.
Not for any other reason.
No. What other possible reason could I have?
You had no indication that they were conveyed to you in some sort of supernatural manner?
No.
Good night, sir.
Good night. May I speak now?
You may, sir. I have made up my mind, sir. You will not have to ask me a second time what troubles me. I have mistaken you for someone else yesterday evening. That troubles me.
That mistake troubles you?
No, that someone else.
Who else?
I don't know. I never saw the face. The left hand is before the eyes and the right waved most violently, like this.
I suppose if they were saying something, they would be saying something along the lines and stuff. For God's sake, clear the way. On one moonlit night, not long ago, I was sitting here and I heard a voice cry, "Hello, below there, look out!" I started up and looked from the door and saw this someone else standing by the red light near the tunnel, waving as I just showed you now. The voice seemed hoarse
and it was crying, "Look out! Look out! Below there, look out!" I caught up my lamp and ran towards the figure, calling, "What's wrong? What has happened? Where?" It stood just outside the blackness of the tunnel. I ran right up to it, had my hands stretched out to pull the sleeve away, and it was gone.
Into the tunnel?
No. I ran on into the tunnel, 500 yards, and held my lamp up to light the way. I saw the figures of the measured distance, and the wet stains seeping down the walls and trickling through the arch. I ran out of the tunnel faster than I had run in. I climbed up the ladder to the iron gantry atop of it, looked around and came back down. I came back here and telegraphed a message both ways. An alarm has been given. Is anything wrong? The answer came back both ways. All well.
This figure, it must be some deception of your senses of sight. And, well, as to be an imaginary cry, well, take a moment to listen to the wind in this unnatural valley we're in. How it harps and whines amid the telegraph wires.
That's all very well, and I should know something of the wind in wires, given I have left so long here, alone on long winter nights. But I've not finished my story yet, sir. Within 6 hours of that event, the memorable accident on this line occurred, and within 10 hours, the bodies of the dead and wounded were brought up through the tunnel, over where the figure had stood.
Well, that is a remarkable coincidence. But remarkable coincidences do continually occur, and you must bear this in mind when you're talking about such sensitive subjects.
I've not finished my story yet, sir. This was just a year ago. 6 or 7 months passed, and my nerves are quite settled, but then I saw the figure again, standing at the red light.
What did it seem to be doing? Did it call out?
No, its face was hidden, like this.
Did you go up to it?
No, I came in here and sat down, partly because my nerves were shaken, partly because it had turned me faint. When I went to the door again, daylight was full above us, and the ghost was gone.
Well. But nothing came of this, surely. There was no consequence.
That very day, I noticed a carriage at the window on my side, and there was a confusion of hands and heads, and something waved. I signalled to the driver to stop. He shut off and put his brake on, but the train ran on 100 yards or so. I ran down to meet it and heard the screams as I ran. There was nothing that could be done. A beautiful young lady had died instantaneously in one of the carriages. She was brought up here and laid out on the floor between us. True, sir. True. Exactly as I tell you, so it happened. The spectre came back a week ago. Ever since, it has been there, now and again, by fits and starts.
At the red light?
The danger light, sir, yes. I've no peace for it, or rest. It calls to me for many minutes in an agitated manner. Below there, look out! It stands, waving to me. It rings my bell.
Did it ring the bell yesterday?
It did, sir. Twice. Just as we were about to part.
Your imagination misleads you. I did not hear the bell at all, my baby, during our time together yesterday.
I have not once mistaken the spectre's ring for that of the man's. The ghost's ring is... There is some mysterious quality to it that is not known to a man. It rings the bell with no control. I am not surprised that you did not hear it, sir, but I heard it.
The spectre, did you see it yesterday when I was there?
Twice.
Come, let's see if the spectre's there now. Well, do you see it?
No.
Agreed.
Try. This time, sir, you will fully understand. What worries me about this situation is this. What does the spectre mean?
Forgive me, but I don't quite understand your meaning.
What is it warning against? What is the danger? Where is the danger? There is some danger overhanging on the line. It is not to be doubted. This third time after what has gone before. What can I do? If I... on either side of me or both. They would think me mad. I can give no reason for it. This is the way it would go. Message. Danger, take care. Answer. What danger? Where? Message. I don't know. But for God's sake, take care. They would displace me. When it first stood under the danger light, why not tell me where the accident was to happen, if indeed it must happen? Why not tell me how it could be averted, if it could have been averted? When, on its second coming, and it hid its face, why not tell me she is going to die? Let them keep her at home. It came those twice, only to tell me that on this third appearance that its warnings were true. Why not tell me plainly now? And, Lord help me, I'm a mere poor signalman. Why not go to someone with credit to be believed and power to act?
Whosoever does their duty must do it well. Take solace in that. You may not understand the meaning of these confounding apparitions, but, well, you do your duty.
True, sir. True. There will be much for me to do this evening, sir. The weekly goods coaches from Derby will be coming through. I may not have much time for conversation.
I understand completely. But I can remain the night with you if that would help in any way. What you've told me tonight has troubled me somewhat. I should like to be of some help, any help that I can be.
There is no need, sir. I shall be just fine after some rest. You should go and do the same.
Oh, very well, very well. May I come speak with you again?
You may, sir. I will be off shortly after sunrise, and on not long after sunset.
Very well, very well. I shall return after sunset.
Good night, sir.
Good night. Whatever's happened here?
Signalman was killed this morning, sir.
No, not the one who belongs to this box.
Yes, sir.
How did this happen?
It was cut down by an engine, sir. No one in this side of England knew their job better, but somehow they were outside of the line and the engine just cut them straight down. This gentleman was driving her and he was just showing me what was happening. You tell the gentleman, Tom.
Coming around the curve in the tunnel, sir, I saw a figure down at the end, as if through a perspective glass. There was no time to check speed, and I knew the signalman to be very careful. So, as he was paying no heed to the whistle, I shut it off as we were bearing down upon him, and I called out to him as loud as I could.
What did you say?
Well, I said, "Below there! Look out! Look out! For God's sake, clear the way!" It was a dreadful time, sir. I didn't stop shouting. I put my hand before my eyes as not to see, and I waved my arm like this as long as I could. But it was no use.
Bad business, to be sure. Tragedy, no less. Thank you all, ladies and gentlemen. This concludes this evening's entertainment and Tales of Terror. I hope you've had a lovely time.